My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. See thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com. It is Wednesday, June 1st, 2022. It's currently 2:51 a.m. I just want to document, first of all, I captured a video last night after 10 p.m. The Ontario Police Department is stalking by helicopter and stalking, and in other words, I'm capturing video. The entity is flying directly over me, over the vehicle that I am inside of while I'm being surrounded with directed light. The entity is aiming directed light inside of the car. These are demons who are driving all around, literally people who are stalking. And this is the group stalking system, and I'm breaking down what demons are doing. And what I'm documenting on the bus, what I'm documenting sitting inside of Starbucks, what I'm documenting sitting inside of the Chino Branch Library. All right. The entity is doing the same thing while I'm inside of a vehicle where you have people who are stalking me. That's what group stalking is. And these are demons that are doing so. So while I remain inside of the vehicle, the entity is aiming directed light. This is flashing light that's appearing at the same time that people are driving by in vehicles. And it's impossible light, meaning it's light that's occurring in ways that are absolutely unnatural and impossible. It's not headlights that are shooting horizontally and spreading from the driver's side to the passenger side of the car, including while the windows are covered up with blankets. I've shown you the position that I'm in, the condition of this vehicle location, and how the windows are covered up. And this is the entity that is stalking with light. This is satanic, all right? And this is an entity that is stalking. It is also stalking me with light while I'm inside of this vehicle. And I'm referencing the stalking conduct by the Ontario Police Department because I did capture that on video after 10 p.m., which was yesterday, May 31st. It's currently June 1st, and at 2:51 a.m. And so what I want to document is what the entity has continuously engaged in. And first of all, I captured a second video of the Ontario Police Department stalking, flying directly over this car. All right, there's no question about what the entity is doing. It's stalking. And the entity is the demon-possessed Ontario Police Department engaging in that obsessive stalking and doing so in a helicopter, flying specifically over me in a distinctly different location. This is an ongoing pattern, and it is ongoing documentation of what is clearly stalking conduct. All right, and the entity is flying directly over me in what is directed light. And also the entity is aiming, flashing directed light inside of this car. And so I do want to document, this is video that I captured, and I want to document moments after capturing that video. That was a little after 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm documenting the fact that the people of the state are in relevant position where they live, and they will be prosecuted engaging in group stalking where they live. Their venues where state surveillance is underway. And that's why, again, the Ontario Police Department is stalking, flying over me while I am sleeping in a car, by the way. The people of the state are monitoring, okay? They are group stalking where they live, okay, in relevant position. You are group stalking wherever your address is, and the entity is monitoring an American citizen, and that's exactly why you will be prosecuted. And I want to document the impunity of the entity engaging in the pattern of conduct on an ongoing basis, but want to specifically document, because this is relevant to the people of the state, and as I document them and where they are going, which is psychiatric wards, engaging in ongoing terrorism, and the impunity with which psychopaths are stalking and engaging in this terrorism conduct. And moments after I document that video, what the entity is continuously doing, even as I'm documenting at 2:51 a.m., the entity immediately follows up that video with uh, demons who are driving by after the Ontario police fly over me, and I'm pointing out this criminal conduct, this terrorism, this demonic activity, and do so by repeatedly repeatedly crossing path with more directed light inside of the car. So this is the entity that's engaging in ongoing terrorism, again, while monitoring documentation, fully aware of and engaging in, again, replicating the conduct that I'm documenting, and Satan going out of its way to do that. That's the people of the state. And I've documented thousands of license plates identifying the people of the state. As I capture video, I'm documenting the third party with the license plate that I recited on video. And she resides at 325 West G Street in Ontario, California, with minor children. And she's engaging in terrorism, and her address is a facilitating venue. And I will be prosecuting her and the rest of the people of the state in relevant position, as well as those who I have already documented. This is the prosecution of a state, the public entity, and the people of the state. And while the entity engages in immediately replicating that conduct, going by to continuously pose that threat, that is more directed light, more stalking with light, more terrorism with this directed light. After I capture video of the demon-possessed police department stalking me by helicopter, flying directly over me, which it has been and was continuously doing, as I pointed out in that video. And this is the case at 2:51 a.m. It's currently 2:56 p.m. And I'm prefacing that with what the entity is continuously doing. And so blankets cover up both sides of this vehicle. Like I said, it has nothing to do with what is the fake sun. It has nothing to do with any reflection of light. It is satanic. This is the act of the demon possessed, and those who surround you in the condition that I'm revealing to you what is demonic activity. And the entity is engaging in what is terrorism and filling this vehicle with directed light at nightfall while the windows are covered up. Has nothing to do with what are obviously headlights that aren't doing that, but they're even when they are driving by on G Street while the vehicle that I'm inside of is parked on Fern Avenue, the entity is aiming directed light across the car seat, seeking to terrorize me. Aiming light across the seat where I'm looking at, because I'm looking at, for example, YouTube videos. And so I'm holding my phone, looking down at my phone, and the entity is going out of its way to engage in these methods of these methods of terrorizing me while I'm documenting it. And I want to specifically document that because I'm going to send people, they're going to psychiatric wards for that. All right. And like I said, that is documentation against this third party that is at the address right now at 325 West G Street in Ontario, California. And she is in no way the entity that lives at that address is in no way separate from the conduct that I'm documenting that I remain subject to, not just here, but outside of the museum, when I'm sleeping outside, when I'm sitting inside a Starbucks, when I'm sitting on the Omnitrans bus. Okay, when I'm walking outside, everywhere that I'm going, and the entity going out of its way to engage in that sort of demonic terrorism. That's what the Ontario Police Department is engaging in. All right. And it's not just the Ontario police. It's the police agencies. I've documented the Upland Police, the Montclair Police. This is what the entity is engaging in, and engaging in this ongoing act while the psychopath is aware of the fact that you're documenting it. The entity aiming directed light across the blankets on the inside of this car, across the windshield on the inside of this car, across the seats where I'm sitting laying down on the seats. I'm sleeping in a car. This is what the entity is doing with directed light. And I want to specifically document because I will use this evidence against the people of the state. I'm going to prosecute the people of the state in Woodside Senior Apartments, including Tracy Banks, a demented, cold-blooded, treacherous psychopath who was monitoring her own daughter. And this is evidence against her. And I'm going to prosecute her, and she's going to federal prison. That's the significance of that. Directed light is a fact. I've already shown you what the directed light is in thousands of videos. Literally. And this is what the entity is aiming inside of this car, and the psychopath that are the people of the state. This is evidence against an entity, not just that demon that lives at the address of 325 West G Street in Ontario, California. This is evidence against the people of the state. It is evidence against every single last third party, including the entity, the public entity itself, the state of California. And the entity is engaging in that ongoing criminal act, which it is ceaselessly engaged in, obsessively stalking while I'm on the bus, obsessively stalking while I'm in the Chino Branch Library, obsessively stalking while I'm in the Ovid Family Community Library, obsessively stalking while I'm at the Starbucks in Montclair, California, obsessively stalking everywhere that I go. And that's including while I'm sleeping in a car and going to that resort to engage in that method of terrorism. That is the evidence against the people who are going to pay what is necessary as a matter of justice. In other words, federal prison. and mental institutions. That's exact. And again, a federal, the criminal record for being prosecuted as a federal group stalker. Excuse me, as engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring, being a group stalker. All right, all of these are the implications of such a criminal system, what is entirely demonic, which is terrorism that's underway in the U.S. And so I am just spelling out in real time what American citizens are subject to. And I've documented it. It's a matter of objective evidence. And I'm specifically pointing it out because I will be using this evidence to prosecute people. And you have what is a large amount of the population that are going to be prosecuted and faced with what are criminal records, which are going to have everyday impact, going to have real life impact in their everyday lives, and reverberating federal repercussions for that, in other words, is what I mean. And a psychopath engaging in this, and this is speaking to what is losing your freedom, and necessarily so. Psychopaths that are engaging in stalking me at 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Those are the closeted psychopaths. Those are the ticking time bombs. And those are who I am documenting all together at once. While they're monitoring me all together, I'm documenting them all together, and I will be prosecuting them all together. It is currently 3:01 in the morning, and I just want to make sure I begin my podcast with this. Do not miss my video documentation. Is the supplemental documentation. And I did capture video last night, and I did capture video this morning. And the entity is ceaselessly engaged in criminal monitoring on an ongoing basis, stalking me with light while I'm inside of a car, and doing so while they know that they're being documented. That is a psychopath that intends to terrorize and intends to molest and intends to harass, again, and doing so in entirely demonic methods. And using what are companies such as Union Pacific, that's exactly what those companies are going to be prosecuted while they're engaging in that. All right, that's attached to every company name that I have identified and documented. It is literally the people of the state. The entire entity is going to be prosecuted for that. It's currently 3:01 a.m. And again, it's Wednesday, June 1st, 2022. And this is P.O.C. 7 PFT 775, 7 MOJ 089, 8 RYV 086, 8G 75629. 7WMG 997, 6TBP 040, 8TKC 395, 7PNY 300, 6YLZ 398, 7BCT 934. It's 9:49 a.m. and the light source is nowhere near the Upland Public Library, where the Upland Police are flying over my head by helicopter. It's where the light source is. The entity is keeping the light source over me right now at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The people of the state are group stalking at this venue and keeping that light source squarely over me, which you can see out the window. That is an impossible occurrence. This is speaking to what is the maintenance of a zenith, and that's a specific placement of the light source right over my head while I'm in the vehicle in movement. All right, and so it's not just up in California. The entity is keeping the light source directly over me where I'm going. I'm using this timestamp as an example, and this is P.O.C. BHAR 665. Hi. All right, Christian is monitoring at where the entity. Christian is a male. And he is monitoring where the entity is flying directly over me by helicopter inside of this drive-thru. And this is audible activity by a third party who was also monitoring. And that direct evidence of the entity, that is the Ontario Police Department flying directly over me while I'm in the drive-thru with a third party who was creating this audible activity as though she's annoyed while I document her criminal conduct, which is an unlawful threat to the life of an American citizen. Christian is the employee. He's a male, overweight Latino male who's in the drive-thru. He's monitoring. OMGNINA. It's 9:56 a.m. 8 SMK 693.
Before it falls off.
License 7XOG 180. 6T42392. 8MO1096. Alrighty, and again 8ULZ 721, 7YQG 252, CT 945, handicap 7BZV 806, 8HNN 418. V411UO, 4WKJ 564 1564986. Again, you're witnessing what is impunity, and also impunity as I'm speaking to you again, third parties that are monitoring with the state, demonic activity. There is no respecter of persons with regard to identifying that, very specific, that very precise formula, and even the cruelty and inhumanity with which I am revealing that pattern of conduct is underway. As you've listened, you've witnessed the audible activity, third parties whose name you know, whatever personal relationship you may think you have with them, and you are subject to what is an ongoing threat to your life. That is a threat to your life while police are stalking you in helicopters. All right, that is no small thing, and you're talking about what is the impunity that third parties act with. That's what's relevant to what I'm documenting even right now, where there is no sun over the Upland Public Library. And that's because I'm not there. And it's an impossible occurrence that the sun is hovering over Starbucks, where I'm documenting the entity moving the light source over me while I'm on public transportation, going to Chino or going to Fontana or going to Upland, for example, or going to Montclair. But yet when I remain here on this exact street where I'm on the bus passing over this venue of Starbucks. All right. And you have the entity's light source. That's not the natural environment. That's what I'm speaking to. This is an environment that is referencing, it's capturing what is the demonic. And that's where the demon possessed are maintaining relevant position, placing you under surveillance. 8KUA 548. And it is a demonic system. All right. And that demon possession is also illustrated. It's personified through that conduct of those third parties. All right, it's 9:58 a.m. But like I said, there is no attitude that you can maintain. There is no outward activity that you can engage in. There is no audible activity that you can create that is any deviation from what is direct evidence of your engagement in this criminal system, which is subjecting you to federal prison, where the entity is stalking by helicopter. Those are the police departments that are engaging in that, and they are directly monitoring with them. All right, it's currently 9:58 a.m. and this is P.O.C. Oh, by the way, the entity is flying over me by helicopter, as I documented last night outside of 630 North Fern. And as I captured images where the entity is stalking by helicopter, where the police are stalking, as I stated, you see the fake sun over me. And that's exactly what I captured in images, where the entity is keeping a fake sun. And you see it hovering over 325 West G Street, right over the window of the car that I'm inside of. And that entity is moving that fake sun as then the vehicle that I'm inside of is moving, as I'm showing you day in and day out on Omnitrans modes of public transportation. And that fake sun is in the same location where the police are flying, stalking overnight, where this we're inside of the car where I'm at. Not flying over the museum, flying directly over me. And that's where the fake sun is in the morning, right over me, over this vehicle. All right, and that is speaking to, again, the Ontario Police Department. You're going to disband that police agency. It's entirely corrupt. They are plagued with what is that condition? Demon possession. They're engaging in facilitating criminal conduct, 8 MAD 926 included. Group stalking. You have what is Tracy Banks monitoring her own daughter. This is the conduct of a psychopath. And as though she's annoyed while I'm documenting criminal conduct. All right, that's a psychopath. That's a very sick individual. And she's monitoring with the rest of these minions who are in position at the Ovid Family Community Library, where the Ontario Police Department is following, just like they're following at the Starbucks drive-thru. All right, Tracy Banks molesting with the rest of these sex offenders. And again, her license is 4WON 432 5ZES 683. And this is, again, the impermissible threat by the Ovid Family Community Library, heavily documented, engaging in a pattern of criminal summoning. And that's why they're going to federal prison as well. 8AWZ 430, directed light. As I've already shown you, where the entity is keeping the fake sun at 10:19 in the morning, at 10:35. This is where the fake sun is at today. As I showed you yesterday, while I'm entering, and Yuri engages in what is criminal defamation, creating a band that she doesn't even have the authority to create, while she is hostile to documentation, and the fake sun's not over the Upland Public Library, it's right here over the Ovid Family Community Library, where the Ontario Police Department also stalking by helicopter. Okay, it's currently 10 a.m. All right, Frontier Communications monitoring with the Ontario Police. Monitoring, this is exactly where the fake sun is. I've shown you the pattern. The Ontario Police are stalking, and they're stalking by helicopter as well, which is also what I captured last night and this morning. And doing so at the Starbucks, where the entity is keeping the fake sun over me, over the drive-thru of that Starbucks in Ontario, nowhere near the Upland Public Library, where I'm going on Route 83 and I'm getting off in Upland and I'm sitting there at the Veterans Monument. I'm at the 7-Eleven yesterday, even before 9 o'clock. I'm walking to the Upland Public Library. I captured video at 9:04 a.m. Okay, the entity is keeping the fake sun, as I captured at 630 North Fern while I'm inside of the vehicle. It's hovering over me, hovering over 325 West G Street, by the way, not hovering over 630 North Fern as though that was the sun. Remember what the entity is. Pay attention to the nuances. It's based on where I'm at. The entity is engaging in keeping the fake sun now directly over the building of the Ovid Family Community Library, whereas it's keeping it, as I documented, a wealth of documentation over the building beside it for the duration of the day, which is the 280 North Limit Apartments. 8NJX 830. Frontier Communications is group stalking at Wells Fargo, who are monitoring as well. San Bernardino County 1419526. 6ZLN 130 8NJX 830. And these are demons that are molesting. Frontier Communications is engaging in that sex offense, molesting my person, while the license plates, the third parties, including Tracy Banks, a demon-possessed group stalker, and that's literally what she engaged in while she drives off, molesting with directed light. City of Ontario, this is a demon, 1459925. That's City of Ontario engaged in ongoing group stalking, engaged in multiple acts of criminal summoning and monitoring with the Ontario Police, which is what they're doing right now. And while they drive into the parking garage, the impossible occurrence of what is directed light, those are acts of terrorism, and you're going to prosecute. And that's exactly, not only you're talking about federal prison, but psychopaths engaging in this conduct, as I've revealed it to you, they're going to psychiatric wards for that. This is terrorism of American citizens. That's supposed to result in an American citizen's defamation, as though they're hallucinating or though they're some paranoid schizophrenic. That is the malice with which demons are terrorizing American citizens, and it is not any a fruit of anyone's imagination. I've captured it for you. Directed light as a fact, an established fact, and this is the malice with which the demon-possessed are terrorizing and stalking while monitoring American citizens with a demon-possessed police agency. It happens to be the Ontario Police while I'm in the City of Ontario. 8SHB 672 1564957. That's a California exempt license plate. 8 UAS 796 5HFK 157 8 YOT 236 4 PZV 843 3 KEL 078 8 MJX 494 6 ELM 748 7 TQM 468 4 YRM 815 8 UAD 514 8 SRV 642 7 HMT 916. City of Ontario pacing in and out of the parking garage. All they did was drive into the parking garage to cross path. Directed light comes across the street toward me while that demon enters that parking garage. And now he's driving out, which is crossing a path again. But understand, all they're doing is driving in and pacing around. It's relevant positioning. All right, GRG, GKG. License 8SOR 387, 7VCL 315, 7TPU 365, 8SRV 642, I think I read that one, 7TPU 365, group stalking in the parking lot under the fake sun, license 5EUV 244, and that's a psychopath looking the opposite direction, like they're engaged in anything else other than what is this obsessive hovering stalking conduct while directed light is occurring while they're driving by. They're stalking you, and those are freak weirdos that are engaging in that sort of conduct. It's 10:07. That's exactly what this demon did. 5EUV 244, directed light while he drives by, stops in alignment with me, stops right behind me, is looking in the opposite direction, and directed light coexisting while he is driving by. He's there to engage in that demonic conduct, stalking surrounding with directed light while he's monitoring. And that's a demon that's engaging in that. That's terrorism. You place such psychopaths in psychiatric wards. All right, license 8SOR 387, 7VCL 315, 7TPU 365, 6VNM 188, 8CEE 012, 29491D2, 8HAL 868, 8LWG 968, BU 76X19, and such psychopaths are stalking me in the bathroom, going into the female and men's restroom to surround me in relevant position. All right, those are the psychopaths that are violent sex offenders, demons, knowing exactly what you're doing while your panties are down, knowing every time you're going into the restroom, what's going on in the restroom, entering and exiting the restroom with regard to what is this demonic pacing around you, stalking with noise in the bathroom while they're monitoring with communication devices, 8HKM448. License BU768X19, paper, 9APZ584, 7EMF 066, 8ROY394. I'm just making sure I read all of these before I 6GBD 556, 5AXU441, 6KVV830, 5DXS 980, 8MKN 815, 6EWC 171, 8LAG 078, MMUSIC 5TQS 003, Lettner Roofing Company, license 689961, US.734285. License, I read that license number, and California 8036. Again, their license plate is 2949162, and an employee wearing that vest with that logo on it is accessing a vehicle with license 6PNV904. License 8GRD820, 5VZN408, 76882M2. 8ZGD103. Let me get this license over here. And it's 10:09 a.m. The entity flying directly over what is third-party facilitating venue, University of LaVerne. Okay, 16864M2, and that's because I'm standing over here in the parking lot where the fake sun is no longer over the front entrance of that library, the Open Family Community Library. It's certainly nowhere near Upland, California. Okay, and that's where you hear the entity amplifying plane engines. That's also, I've shown you the pattern. That's where the demon-possessed police agencies, these corrupt police agencies, are stalking by helicopter. 8ZGD 103, make sure I get this, and 8EAX 648, 7VPN 295, 7RXV 901, 8YGF 540, 8TRR 553, and 7CKJ 489. They are stalking out here in the parking lot. Monitoring with the entity that's stalking by helicopter and stalking by planes and keeping a fake sun directly over me. It's 10:11 a.m. Alrighty, license plate. I read all these license plates in the back parking lot, and I wanted to get video because I want you to see what is, again, the fake sun is remaining directly over me, veering far from being anywhere over or remaining over the Open Family Community Library, which, again, you are already aware of this. I've documented thoroughly the pattern of conduct, but I just want you to see it. I'm standing at the entrance doors. You have a minion that's monitoring me that works with the Open Family Community Library. They're all engaged in what is a molestation while demons are pacing around in that C Street turn circle. They are stalking together, engaging in what is surveillance while they're maintaining presence inside of the library for the duration of the day, and doing so in that specific environment. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me at that entrance while I stand there. And I'm also reminding you while I stand there, as I stand at that same location at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's the same position of that light source. While I walk to the opposite end of the parking lot facing the College of Law, University of LORRAINE, a corrupt institution that are monitoring American citizens while they want to engage in what is teaching the law or gaining a law degree, they're engaging in criminal conduct like you hear. This is the Ontario Police, following from Starbucks, following from 630 North Burn. That's P.O.C. All right, Jessica and Carlos. Hi. Jay said, right? Yeah, they're monitoring with the Ontario Police. They're sitting around in directed light, engaging in what is bathroom monitoring as well. Violent sex offenders engaging in surveillance, monitoring one while their panties are down inside of a private space while ongoing private activity is underway. They're molesting in directed light. These are all the ways in which they're also sex offenders, engaging in this obsessive surveillance with the Ontario Police Department, who flew literally over my head at this same venue, where, by the way, the sun is not over the Open Public Library. It's not in alignment with that entrance. It is in no position to ever remain there throughout the afternoon. As my documentation reveals, the entity is doing with the light source. It is mutually exclusive, and it is also within that the conformity to that pattern, as I've captured it, stalking by helicopters, the police that are following in that environment. Doing so with the people of the state. You see them wrapping around the building, parking around, operating their communication devices, sitting in the parking lot to maintain presence, driving by with directed light. The iteration of that same exact P.O.C. inside of the Open Family Community Library is stalking with noise. These are demons who are making noise pursuant to my physical movements, psychopaths, demons, engaging in what is maintenance pacing all around while they're in directed light. They walk in and out of doors. They open and close doors. They walk by, pushing carts, making whatever noise that they have, pursuant to what it is that I'm doing physically, while they are obsessively stalking and monitoring with that obsessed stalker, the demon-possessed Ontario Police Department. That's literally the entirety of that system. And they continue that inside of a bathroom while all of an entity is engaging in what you are doing in a private space. That's a sex offender that is also very fearful. That's what the Open Public Library is engaged in. And that's what the Open Family Community, while you document that, and they're being the criminal and the sex offender, and you are enforcing your constitutional rights, you are talking about what is obstruction of justice, and you sit in federal prison for that while the entity seeks to inject itself and stop that process. It's not stopping it. You are adding on to time where you will sit in federal prison for that. It's 10:23 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, I want to point something out to you with regard to the prosecution of the people, the pattern of conduct by this entity, especially as you are engaging in the process of documenting, establishing the prima facie case. And I'm speaking on behalf of the ordinary target individual. I am establishing what is the precedent. All right, the fact that group stalking is a criminal system that's operated by the state, that it is satanic activity. This is speaking to the prosecution for terrorism, and also the ongoing threat to your life by virtue of the existence of that system, but also that threat to your life while this the satanic nature of it is and the pattern is that the demon-possessed entity increases and replicates the criminal activity as you document it. It's very, very demented. And I want to point something out to you that's relevant to the threat to your life that the entity is posing while they're monitoring. And I want to point this out while I'm documenting on video at Starbucks today. Pay attention to the very specific pattern that Tracy Banks is deliberately engaging in. First of all, she is monitoring. She's a third party. She's monitoring not only while I'm at the museum, for example, she's monitoring while I'm in Upland, California. She is aware of the fact that I'm subject to surveillance. She's been monitoring me for years. And this is a psychopath that like texts on my phone, like, where are you at? This is a psychopath. It's in no way suggesting that she's genuinely ignorant, that she's not engaged in the P.O.C. You're dealing with a psychopath, and that's documentation of showing what is nothing other than a very highly malicious and treacherous criminal, all right, and a violent sex offender, as she's going to be prosecuted as a third party, and surrounding what is this demonic activity with legislation to address all the ways in which Satan is placing American citizens under surveillance through a government, through a people, and also the ways in which it's a violation to a person. It's the conduct of a sex offender. It's the conduct of a stalker. It's a conduct of one that's engaging in criminal monitoring amongst a government and a people, which is criminal surveillance. And so this is the surrounding of a minion such as Tracy Banks with legislation, which is necessary as a matter of justice. It's binding Satan, if you will. And this is the reality of what her conduct is. And I want to point out a very specific and deliberate act on the part of Tracy Banks, who was monitoring, who was aware of every word that I utter, that I publish about her. As I publish any information about the entity, I'm publishing it about her. So understand, because you're documenting an entity, you're prosecuting an entity, and she is a part of that entity. And so it is very specific and deliberate, the fact that, again, where I'm documenting the entity stalking me by helicopter, and I'm reminding you about the audible activity, which she's the one who was on my camera stalking with the Montclair Police Department by helicopter under the fake sun at 10:58 in the morning, as I documented the other day, where I remained and the entity kept that fake sun in Montclair over that Starbucks, that same exact Starbucks, till well after 6 p.m. But yet again, when I'm in Ontario, when I'm in the vehicle outside of 62 North Fern, it's not over the museum. It's remaining directly over me, directly over the building where I'm at, nowhere near some Starbucks or Target in Montclair on Central Avenue. Okay, that is speaking to the P.O.C. And as I pointed that out, understand the deliberation of Tracy Banks, and this is the conduct of Satan. This is relevant to how you'll be prosecuted while you are satiated by engaging in what is highly demented, both because you're hostile, but also because you're sick. Okay, and this is what Satan does, and it's not a coincidence. There are no coincidences, by the way, when you're documenting federal group stalking and monitoring. It's demonic conduct. All right, but let me be clear. It is very deliberate, and she is acting directly in concert, even to the degree of engaging in monitoring me and threatening and terrorizing me with the Ontario police, with helicopter flying over me under the fake sun at Starbucks again, which is what I documented today. Starbucks is her idea. Oh, do you want some Starbucks? All right, she goes to Starbucks. The entity immediately flies over me by helicopter. All right, and this is the same conduct that I documented days ago, where she is monitoring me at Starbucks in Montclair, where the Montclair police are stalking by helicopter. I just want to point this out. It is the P.O.C. of monitoring. This is the deliberate act of Tracy Banks, who is monitoring in concert with the police department, with the people of the state, and doing so and repeating that which she is aware of the fact that I'm documenting, that which she seeks to also try to blame me for, which is what she did in Montclair. That's you're trying to blame somebody while the police are stalking them. Okay, you're talking about what is, again, this is the delusional psychopath, and this is, again, treachery. I'm capturing it. This is treachery. This is Satan. And this is one who is, again, I'm blood related to her. It is no exception. That is entirely deliberate. I want to point that out. This is not about pointing out what is a bad mother. This is about pointing out how long you're going to sit in federal prison. This is entirely deliberate on the part of not only the Ontario Police, but Tracy Banks, who specifically engages in what is monitoring me and sending what are subliminal messages while she's monitoring, aware of the fact of what I'm publishing on my podcast, the truth about her. She's engaging in the conduct, and I'm documenting it, and I'm also going to prosecute it. And the truth about you, you're revealing that truth, but there's nothing that I'm doing. I can't control what she's doing. I'm going to prosecute it, though. I'm going to publish it. I'm going to reveal it. I'm not going to hide it or anything. So I just want to point that out. That's specific. That's a specific intent to engage in that. I want to be clear. While I documented that at Starbucks in Montclair, the police stalking by helicopter under the fake sun. Today in Ontario, the entity keeping the fake sun over me, stalking by the Ontario police by helicopter. And that is not a coincidence. That's intentional. And not only on the part of, again, it's not just Tracy Banks, it's Starbucks, the company who I'm prosecuting. This is how an entity engages in the P.O.C. And this is Christian, that's at the drive-thru, monitoring, and the entity is keeping that light source over me. Starbucks represents the people of the state. You're dealing with what are demons. As I've shown you, for third parties will cross path using commercial vehicles to communicate a threat, especially as you identify them. This is a way of the entity engaging in what is showing hostility and engaging in that criminal conduct, seeking to threaten, seeking to replicate that and rise in that maniacal level of criminal activity while you document it. Understand, all of this is deliberate. And it's not a pattern. Excuse me, it's not a coincidence. It is a pattern, a specific one, not only with the pattern of conduct, but a specific pattern of repeating what it is the entity is hostile that you're revealing. And again, as you'll witness, as you're paying attention to, that's to its own demise. That is the group stalker that is Starbucks. Again, that is the group stalker that is Tracy Banks, who is deliberately going to what is another Starbucks to engage in terrorism with the police department stalking by helicopter under what is that specific environment, the scientific impossibility, revealing what is her demon possession, not only based on that inhumanity that she exhibits while she's monitoring me, but also by the engagement in that pattern of conduct in concert with the people of the state and the state. So I want to point that out. That is specific and that is intentional. She's listening. She knows everything that I'm publishing on my podcast, for example, while I'm outside in relevant position inside of her vehicle where the Ontario police are flying over me all night, while I am inside of her vehicle at Starbucks in Montclair and the Montclair police are stalking in relevant position, while I am inside of her vehicle at the Starbucks in Ontario and the Ontario police are stalking in helicopter in relevant position, while I'm in, even as I documented the other night, while I'm inside of her car, inside of Woodside Senior Apartments, and those minions, 55 and older, okay, are stalking with light activity, flashing a light, and the Ontario police are monitoring. All right, it's facilitation. So I want to point that out, and what you'll see in the video, again, I pointed it out in the video, but I'll make sure I point it out on my podcast. When you're looking at the video documentation and the images, first of all, there is no comparison with what is directly over my head while I'm in Upland at the Upland Public Library. The videos I captured yesterday, it's at 9:04 in the morning. I'm at the Veterans Monument area in between the Upland Public Library and the Upland City Hall. The entity is keeping the fake sun there, as I've also captured for the duration of the day while I remain at that venue. Because the Upland Public Library is monitoring, and they're filled with demons who are stalking just like they are inside of the Ovid Family Community Library. Sitting around me, walking all around, pacing, engaging in surveillance, obsessive stalking, on communication devices with noise, in directed light. There are demons walking around with multiple shadows, pacing back and forth. These are psychopaths. These psychopaths are stalking in the bathroom on behalf of that stalker that is the Ontario Police Department. It is the Ontario Police that is stalking, all right? And by the way, the Ontario Police welcomed on many occasions. All of whom are going to federal prison. They're also going psychiatric wards. That same police department, present pursuant to criminal summoning on multiple occasions at this venue, stalking me by helicopter, flying over the venue. Are you kidding me? Yes, they're going to federal prison. Yes, they are going in straitjackets. That's literally what this venue has provided the evidence of. All right, so you're talking about what is the same pattern of conduct in Upland, showing you what is no sun that's over the Ovid Family Community Library and over my head in Upland, California at the same time. And then I'm en route going to Chino, showing you what is the fake sun that's remaining over me the entire time. Okay, and the entity's keeping the fake sun directly over my head today while I'm at the entrance where Carlos, who was stalking with the Ontario police, monitoring with the Ontario police, a violent sex offender, engaging in what is years of sexual violence, and then a hostile sex offender, while you document the fact that he's a sex offender criminally monitoring with the Ontario police, then summoning those demons, all right, to harass and terrorize you further because he's a sex offender. That's what the evidence reveals. That state actor is opening the entrance doors while the fake sun is right over the entrance. I walk to the back parking lot, the same parking lot where I captured at 7:34 a.m. The fake sun is at that location in that same parking lot. Remember that. I documented this. The entity's fake sun is directly over my head at that same parking lot after 10 o'clock in the morning. That's what you're paying attention to. The entity's fake sun is moving from the entrance door of the front entrance of the Ovid Family Community Library as I stand there while Carlos opens it at 10. And as I walk to the back parking lot, that fake sun remains squarely over my head as I walk to the back portion of that parking lot on the opposite side of the building. That's what you're paying attention to. The entity's keeping the fake sun at 6:41 p.m. Over my head while I am at 6:41 p.m. coming from Chino, California, getting off of Route 83, just like I did yesterday, by the way. At a different time, I arrived at approximately after 6:30 p.m. Fake sun is remaining. I captured that in still images. But nonetheless, where the entity's moving that fake sun from the front entrance where Carlos's group stalking, opening up the entrance doors, it's patrolling. Demons are patrolling into that venue where directed light fills the venue at the library. While they are walking in, they are monitoring. Okay, and then you have the fake sun that's over the entrance where you see Carlos on video, and the fake sun remains over my head as I then walk to the back parking lot. It's not even over the building, it remains squarely over my head. 6:41 p.m. at that same parking lot area on the sidewalk in between the parking garage and the Ovid Family Community Library. 6:41 p.m. the fake sun documented, keeping it in alignment with me while that same Ontario Police Department is stalking by helicopter. Okay, this is the documentation that's already published. So I want to make sure that I point this out. And this is all speaking to just the Ovid Family Community Library. The entity is keeping the fake sun over the Upland Public Library while I am remaining there yesterday. And at this time, I am on the Omnitrans bus going to Chino, California. This is the entity that's then keeping the fake sun over me, again, in conflict with documentation where it's remaining over me in Montclair, California, the Montclair Transit Center, sitting inside of the Montclair Starbucks at 4490 Hope Boulevard in Montclair, California. The Montclair Starbucks on Central Avenue. I'm capturing video at 10:58 in the morning after leaving Target in Montclair, California. I am in the Panera Bread. I'm documenting in Rancho Cucamonga. The entity's keeping the fake sun over me as I then go to what is the Victoria Gardens, and the fake sun is remaining over. This is all documented conduct of where the entity is placing its fake sun squarely over my head. But yet when I remain in Ontario at the Over Family Community Library, this is where the entity is keeping the fake sun. All right. And that is speaking to what is the P.O.C. There's no question about it. I'm just reminding you, you are not maintaining what is a short memory. You're maintaining everything that exists with the record. And not only that, this same venue, this is exact conduct where I've been documenting this for years. The entity is engaging in conduct at this same exact venue that the sun is setting. This is captured in 2021, 2020, 2000. I've been documenting this for years. The entity keeping a fake sun as though the sun is setting at the same venue. The sun is setting at this intersection area, like I'm showing you at 7 p.m. But I'm showing you this inside of the Starbucks at 706 West Holt, inside of the Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt Boulevard, the Ontario Village Shopping Plaza. The entity engaging the sun is setting at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, at Mercy House at 435 West Bonneview. The entity engaging in what is conduct as though the sun is setting while I am remaining at the Fontana Lewis Library. I've documented all of this, and this is over a term of years. This has nothing to do with what is the natural environment. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me, and what is also revealed through that environment is the stalking conduct by the police departments. These are demons. And this is the group stalking system. The demon possessed, because that's what they are. This is demonic. While they're stalking in helicopters, you're witnessing their demon possession. It's obsessive, highly demented level of stalking, doing so in the most unheard of ways, seeking to terrorize in the most fierce ways that Satan can fathom. Okay, what more way could you try to threaten somebody, try to strike fear, right, than stalking him in a helicopter? Okay, that's contrived in the pits of hell. These are demons that are a part of these police departments that are stalking in this manner. It is what is the group stalking system. It's the state acting directly, and they're doing that in these environments where I've shown literally the sun rising, the sun remaining all day long, and the sun setting, as I've been documenting this pattern of conduct in this unnatural environment for a term of years. Okay, which again, Tracy Banks finds funny, stating that, you've been saying that since 2018. It's called creating a body of evidence with which she's going to federal prison behind. I've fully documented her since 2018. She's absolutely correct. And she's engaging in what is entirely malicious conduct, speaking to where she belongs, which is in federal prison, while she intentionally threatens the life of an American citizen who just so happens to also be her daughter, which is nothing other than revealing the level of malice and treachery that she acts with. While it is no coincidence that she is monitoring a relevant position under the fake sun in directed light, while the entity is stalking, threatening my life, stalking by helicopter, and doing so again, which I documented days earlier. This is 48 hours ago at the Montclair Starbucks under the fake sun, the same exact environment. This is P.O.C. and she is doing so with knowledge of the fact that she's being documented. That's a violent sex offender who is a criminal, monitoring with the entity that is engaging in a pattern of calling the police. She's engaged in criminal summoning. All of that, which I'm documenting about the state, it started with Tracy Banks. Understand that. And so this is a cold-blooded actor, a third party. You're dealing with Satan. You're not dealing with a mother. And so, like I said, what she finds comical now, that's why she's going to be in federal prison. And that's speaking to what is the formula of prosecution, the formula that exists with regard to identifying the demon-possessed, that demonic environment, and that criminal system that you're subject to, which is operated by a state. And it is satanic at its core. And you have what are psychopaths walking around inside of a venue as though they have any legal argument, showing that they have, again, acting with impunity. You're not at work. You're not doing anything normal. You're stalking in directed light. You're entirely focused on what I'm doing physically and on a communication device while the police is flying over me by helicopter. And you want to, with a straight face, sit around in somebody's face and threaten them, because that's exactly what it is. It's impunity. And that's why the people of the state go to federal prison and psychiatric wards. All right. It is currently 10:53 a.m. and this is P.O.C. at the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, and that was Jessica and Carlos, who are group stalking with the Ontario police, who fly over me while I'm walking back to the entrance, and that fake sun is remaining over my head as I walk back to the entrance from the back parking lot at Plum and B Street to what is the C Street turn circle where the front entrance of the Ovid Family Community Library is. All right. They're group stalking inside of the venue where the entity is keeping directed light. And these are demons who are pacing in engineered light. That's why they have multiple shadows. It's a demonic environment. All right. And so it's 10:53 a.m. and this is P.O.C. I just wanted to point out that pattern that Tracy Banks specifically engages in. While she knows that I'm revealing the pattern of conduct, she intentionally engages in repeating it at another Starbucks with the police department under the fake sun. That's deliberate. Okay. That again, you're not dealing with a mother. You're not dealing with flesh and blood. You're dealing with a spirit, a satanic one. All right. That's an enemy. All right. And not a formidable one. She's going to be prosecuted for that. And she represents the people. The people are going to be prosecuted. The people are prosecuted. It is surrounded with evidence. This is the P.O.C. Alrighty, I'm capturing video documentation of the fake sun at 10:58 a.m. That is Carlos and J-Fed and Jessica that are stalking with the Ontario Police Department. They're monitoring. That is speaking to what is the grounds of federal prison, stalking with the police, and doing so facilitating it inside of this library, which is a state facilitating venue, which is, again, the state facilitating venue is seen through what is the fake sun that's over your venue. You're not only identified as the demon that you are, that's the demonic environment. You're also identified as engaging in what is criminal surveillance. And that's why in that video you can hear the Ontario Police sounding helicopter activity. That's why, by the way, the Ontario Police are flying over the Ovid Family Community Library over my head while I'm at this venue. And I'm showing you what is 10:58 a.m., as I've already documented, at Montclair the other day, where the fake sun is over me. In Montclair, which is not over the window above the Ovid Family Community Library. This is an entity that's engaging in conduct which is directly revealed as being impossible. Its entire system, I have revealed every aspect of it. It is revealing what is nothing other than criminal. And while it is surrounded with that evidence, this is understanding what is the impermissible threat. Every third party or state actor documented engaging in a pattern of conduct with the government that's placing you under surveillance, which is a violation of federal law. It is a threat to your life while the government is doing so, and stalking in the demonic and demented methods, such as stalking you by helicopters. The entity is engaging in what is conduct that results as a matter of justice as what is going to federal prison. So in other words, JFED has no constitutional right to be what he wants to call being at work in directed light under the fake sun, stalking on behalf of the Ontario Police Department. And you will be prosecuted and go to federal prison for that. And that's the uniform policy for how you're prosecuting what is a matter of public corruption. This is how it exists. All right. You're talking about what are demons who seek to terrorize you, molest you, stalk you in bathrooms, molest you with directed light, stalk you with ongoing noise, stalk you by helicopters while they're looking in every opposite direction and would like to establish the target individual as some paranoid schizophrenic. No, that's not what we're doing. You're going to sit in a psychiatric ward for this. This is terrorism. And you do not have any First Amendment rights. You're talking about you have no presence on your own behalf. You are present on behalf of the state in a specific environment, which is a venue. You are engaging in what is present on behalf of that government who has no right to engage in group stalking whatsoever. All right. And you don't get to engage in group stalking by calling it being at work or calling it research for your job or coming to use it. No, you're monitoring. All right, and you can call it whatever you want. What it's going to be called is a federal prosecution. That's what it is. And so this is the significance of what I just captured on video right now. It's 10:58 a.m. This is Ovid Family Community Library, which is speaking to the P.O.C. And that is, again, pure asininity. Okay, the sun is not over the Fontana Lewis Library outside of the computer lab. But I'm showing you a video of what is the fake sun, necessarily the fake sun, while it is hovering over the window above the staircase and over the Ovid Family Community Library. But it's also over my head in Montclair at the Starbucks. Okay, yeah, no, that's not occurring. In case you did not know, that's impossible. This is capturing what is that asininity. And while the entity is surrounded, okay, while the entity thinks that it's surrounding me with a bunch of demons, they're all going down together. You are surrounded with evidence, and they're going where I say they're going. They're going into psychiatric wards. They're going to federal prison, and they're also going to be removed from what are the ability to wage a threat. These are lawless psychopaths, very, very dangerous. These are ticking time bombs. I'm revealing to you what is their condition, which they seek to conceal from you, because you cannot physically perceive a demon. A demon is a very, very dangerous creature. Okay, while you're looking at somebody that wants to dress nice or speak eloquently. Actually, they don't speak that eloquently. But like I said, there's nothing impressive about the demon possessed. These are violent psychopaths who seek to terrorize you while they want to appear as being normal. There's nothing normal about them. Look at the directed light that they're in. Look at the fake sun that they're under. Look at the stalking conduct by the police while they're around you. All right. Listen to the noise level. They're demons that are stalking you with the creation of noise. That's psychopaths that do that. All right. And they're as crooked as the shadows that they're creating while they're stalking me inside of the library. That's how crooked they are. They're ticking time bombs. And you're going to place those threats. You're going to remove them from society. And this is based on their criminal activity. All right, this isn't discrimination on some religious right to serve Satan. That's not what this is. This is criminal activity. And this criminal activity is engaged in by those that are an entity pursuant to what is a specific method of terrorizing someone, satanic methods. That's terrorism. While you're monitoring as the government. Yeah, that's the P.O.C. It's 11:08 a.m. This is Ovid Family Community Library. It's currently 3:54 p.m. I'm capturing what is demons who are pacing inside of the Ovid Family Community Library. They're all walking around, and they're doing so in the directed light. So these are demons who are pacing, and they are concentrating their movement, which is crossing a path. They're pacing, patrolling all around me, and I'm sitting at desktop number 13. They're doing so with an ongoing, determined effort to obstruct publishing on the internet, and specifically I took even screenshots of that. And it's been 3:55 p.m. I logged off of the computer at like a little bit after 1 p.m., so approximately like 1:25 p.m. And it's been over 2 hours, and it's an inability to engage in what is a very basic function on YouTube, and that is add a playlist that I already have created, added my videos that I uploaded onto YouTube, just to generate that playlist onto my YouTube channel page, and where you can see my playlists are documented by date. And so just adding on the playlist that's already created to this front page of my channel. All right. And so you're just selecting it from a drop down in the menu when you go to your channel setup area. The entity is engaging in what is monitoring on the internet. And so this is creating what is an ongoing interruption of internet connection. And I documented this in screenshots. And this is an ongoing event this is over 2 hours. This is no failure of internet. This is relevant to what are pacing. You're looking at Carlos. He's pacing while I'm sitting at computer number 13. They are walking back and forth and going into the administrator's door, which I've also documented before. Those are demons where I'm sitting in the at the back portion of the library, and they use that door as a method of ongoing noise, and they use that with a method of stalking with audible activity. They are pacing back and forth, walking around the desk that I'm at, walking through the aisles beside in between where the computer monitors are, and walking back and forth talking to Emily. She's the one sitting at the computer area by the administrative office, excuse me. She's a third party. She's monitoring with minions who are entering the venue, registering for whatever sort of program, asking about, oh, do you have this? I'm looking for this book. I need this DVD. They're group stalking and monitoring, loitering in relevant position on behalf of the Ontario Police, who I captured stalking by helicopter. I'm capturing images of what is the light activity that you're looking at. So while you see this demon, she's going by the name of Emily. She's group stalking with Carlos. Carlos is the demon who you see standing outside of the entrance doors with the fake sun directly over the front portion of the Ovid Family Community Library at 10 o'clock. Carlos is also the minion who you see with Jessica sitting behind the circulation desk after I enter, and the Ontario Police flies directly over my head over the Ovid Family Community Library as I'm walking back to the front entrance after that fake sun is over the back parking lot. This is Carlos, who is pacing and monitoring with Emily. They're monitoring together. They're demons that are engaging what is using audible activity, using their voices, answering the phone. You're talking about demons that are calling. You're talking about demons that are pacing all around, sitting in the computers. This is massive surveillance that's underway. And I'm showing you what is the light activity. They're in the venue where the entity is keeping the fake sun, as I've documented, 10 o'clock in the morning, 6:41 p.m. As I documented this morning, while the entity is stalking with the Ontario Police, okay? While I'm showing you what is the fake sun and the engineered light that's over the window of the staircase of the elevator, which is documented for the duration of the day. This is the P.O.C. They are not walking around. This is the demon possessed. They're cockroaches, and they're pacing all around me inside. This is what these demons are doing while I'm on the bus, and I'm documenting the fake sun that's remaining over me, and I'm showing you the directed light that's flashing all over the bus. While I have multiple shadows, I'm being molested. This is what they're doing inside of the building that is the Ovid Family Community Library. They are engaging in what is ongoing noise creation. They are engaging in what is pacing around in the engineered light, and they are engaging in what is presence in that environment that they are facilitating on behalf of the corrupt police department that is the Ontario Police, who is engaging in surveillance via the people. This is what group stalking is. All right, and so I want to show you, this is what I'm showing you in images. These are minions who are group stalking inside of the library, and they're engaging in what is an ongoing, absurdly ridiculous, okay? This is pathetic what the entity is engaging in, but they are, again, what I'm showing you is video. My video documentation is very powerful, and Satan does not want you to see it. You're going to see it anyway, and I'm going to prosecute. They're going to sit in straitjackets in federal prison for this, because this is what the ordinary American citizen needs to be guarded from. So what I'm showing you that the entity is doing, I'm serving a purpose and documenting it and explaining it to you, because this is what you're going to protect American citizens from. All right, the entity is a psychopath seeking to threaten your life on an ongoing basis while you document, and American citizens will document the government. Minions such as the Upton Public Library, the Ovid Family Community Library, these police departments, they will go to federal prison and they will not get out. The people of the state of whatever state, the people of the state will sit in medical institutions, in straitjackets, and in federal prison, and they will not get out. Okay, I'm showing you what they are doing. This is what they're doing. It's entirely demented. They're doing it while the entity is stalking by the police, and then they're standing around literally stalking and monitoring and threatening you in your face. That's what Carlos and Emily are doing. That's what these minions sitting inside of these computers are doing, because you're not doing anything other than stalking, and they know that they're being documented. Okay, so I want to be clear. This is speaking to what is the creation of legislation in order to prosecute what are very vicious psychopaths, very demented, pacing back and forth into whatever doorway, walking in circles around me while they have multiple shadows. This is speaking to directed light. This is speaking to demon possession. This is speaking to what is pacing, okay? And they're doing so while I am documenting that. And they're on the venue of the internet, specifically YouTube, where I'm unable to add nothing other than a playlist to the front page of my channel, which is already published. So I will what I wanted to do was capture screen images of that. This has gone on for an excess of 2 hours. This is not a malfunction of internet. It's actually an ongoing, deliberate act of manipulating the connection to internet, because what it is first of all, if it was a slowdown, and I'm just going to explain this in general, it's not a slowing down of internet, because when you, for example, have what is a slowed down internet, and for example, I go to my YouTube channel and the internet is kind of slow, and this is if that was actually the case. There is no malfunction where the entity is monitoring you. You're understanding there are no coincidences. There's no malfunction. This is ongoing obsessive stalking, and the internet is in pristine condition. You're subject to what is monitoring, seeking to obstruct your ability to access, your ability to publish and document, etc. So understand that. But you have what is, again, the scenario where it would be slowed down internet. So you would just, for example, log on to YouTube, for example, you would just sit there on that website, youtube.com, and wait for the internet or wait for the page to generate. If it was just a matter of what is slow internet, slow connection, a way down traffic, okay? They're all monitoring with communication devices. And this is also shown because it's not a matter of what is slow down internet, because while I keep my website, for example, on the particular website on YouTube, waiting for the page to generate, a delayed response with regard to generation of the page. And if it stays there, understand what's going on with what the page generates. All that information of that website is also generating. The entity is seeking to obstruct my ability to access it. And this is why the entity, what you'll see in the screenshots, the pages then start crashing, because the entity is deliberately stopping that load up of information, the access to that internet. So understand it's a slowing down, and it's also intentionally stopping it from that page and from that information generating as ordinarily internet would if it was just a matter of mere slowing down of internet. That's not what it is. And so I'm showing you that in still images. I'm showing you what is the slowing down of the generation of the website. And then I'm showing you what is following. The tab, the internet is crashing. And it's crashing because they're intentionally interrupting the ability for the website that I'm on to generate the information. Understand the internet has to generate all of my playlists, all that information on a particular page on the website would generate, even albeit slowly, but it would slowly, all that information would generate, and then I'd be able to select my website, I'd be able to save it, and then it would publish on my website. That's not what's going on. The information is slowed down, so I'm accessing the website. It's extraordinarily slow, and then in order to stop it from loading up and generating at all, it's restarting, and in other words, crashing. That's a deliberate manipulation of the internet that is not malfunctioning. And this is going on for 2 hours, okay? So I want to be clear, this is what the entity was also doing on the desktop computers, which are not Wi-Fi, it's Ethernet, okay? This is ongoing on my phone, which is connected to Ontario Library Wi-Fi. That's the city of Ontario that's monitoring, criminal monitoring with the people of the state, with law enforcement, okay? And This is the Ontario Library Wi-Fi, specifically the venue. So I want to document that, and that's what I showed. And this is ongoing, repeated for over 2 hours, also on the desktop computers. This is that entity that's entirely pathetic. In no way, no detail, nothing that I have ever captured is going to be left out or dismissed or forgotten when I prosecute. And I'm prosecuting right now, even as I document. You're talking about what is a pathetic entity. And it is to its own demise. Carlos is sitting in federal prison. I've been documenting Carlos for years. There's documentation of what is Carlos in 2019, literally conducting and making an admission while he's talking about he hears me speaking to myself under my breath while I'm across the room from the circulation desk, as though I am acting like some crazy person, yelling at the top of my lungs, screaming at children and cussing at the security guard at that time. Again, a pattern of ongoing harassment by the demons who are employed by security companies working at the Ovitt Family Community Library. And at this time, you have what is the entity harassing me, including Carlos. And I documented this in 2019, where the entity was engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct. And it's the same demon going by the name of Carlos who works here and is still posing an impermissible threat for which he's going to federal prison, all right? And engaging in what is ongoing harassment while he's monitoring me. And also admittedly monitoring while a demon is stating that they know what I said across the room, and also lying while doing so. Because I was never yelling. I'm certainly not at the elevator talking to you or looking at you. You have what is accusing me, again, making false allegations in order to substantiate what are their unfounded accusations. Oh, now you're stating that I was yelling at you across the room and cussing at you, and that's how you heard what I was stating to myself under my breath while I was getting on the elevator, which is a lie. Okay, I was not yelling. I was not talking to them. I'm getting on the elevator, headphones in my ears, witnessing pathetic minions across the room, but nonetheless not conversing with them. This is a matter of documentation. It's already published. I just want you to know who Carlos is. Carlos is going to federal prison. All right, and Carlos is the one that's group stalking with Emily at the circulation desk behind me by the administrative office. Carlos is the demon that's pacing back and forth in engineered light. Carlos is the one that's doing so with the Ontario police, a pattern of engaging in what is criminal summoning, harassment and terrorism, sexual violence, monitoring me while my panties are down, with the rest of these minions who are group stalking inside of the Ovitt Family Community Library. So I want to be clear, it's 4:06 p.m. This isn't very serious criminal activity in addition to what is the ongoing legislation that I advocate that's going to surround a demon-possessed entity, placing American citizens under surveillance in the ways in which the satanic methods that the entity does so. And that is, again, under the name of systematic infliction of inhumane suffering, S.I.I.S. for federal law, because Title 18, Section 22618 does not go far enough. All right. It has not yet been contemplated, and it needs to be specifically contemplated and a matter of federal legislation that the government in the United States are placing American citizens under surveillance. And it's not just criminal, it's entirely satanic. All right. And that is not a matter of what is some weird religious or conspiracy theory. It's a matter of objective evidence, understanding what a satanic environment is, subject to what is satanic behavior, which is relevant for prosecution for terrorism while you're subject to surveillance by a government in violation of your constitutional human rights. So anyway, it's 4:06 p.m. and I want to document that. I want to specifically publish that. This is shown in what are still images published onto the G drive. Alrighty. And this is P.O.C. at the Ovitt Family Community Library. It's 4:07 p.m. All right, the Ontario Police Department engaged in criminal summoning. The same Ontario Police Department that was stalking by helicopter, flying directly over me all last night, flying directly over me at Starbucks, flying directly over me again at the library, engaging in what is criminal summoning, stalking outside of the Ovitt Family Community Library, engaged in bathroom monitoring. License plate 1582626, Ontario Police at the Ontario Town Square. They're engaged in criminal summoning. They are monitoring at the Ovitt Family Community Library. They're surrounding the perimeter with their police lights. That's criminal summoning. There is not a legitimate aspect to their agency. They are clearly engaging in stalking conduct. These are demons using police vehicles to engage in what is demonic activity and the criminal elements of monitoring. And they're doing so with the people of the state. MRSONT, engaged in criminal summoning. Securitas, the African-American female, she is again monitoring with the Ontario Police Department. She's engaged in criminal summoning. They are monitoring me in the bathroom. Third party stalking in the bathroom, waiting for me to enter in order to engage in crossing a path. That's the Ontario Police stalking in the bathroom. 1563089, 8EIX 870 5800F, 5800F2, 8V70212, 7AKR 621. 1459143. That is a City of Ontario vehicle. C license, and this is Ontario Police monitoring me while my panties are down. Okay, this is what they've been doing all day. I walk outside, they've got their lights on, they're in relevant position, they're group stalking, monitoring while I'm physically indisposed, engaged in private activity. That's a sex offender as well as an obsessed stalker, stalking me day and night by helicopters. BBEUTY 8PBA 118 6DWC 601 GMDIVA1, monitoring with the Ontario Police. And Ontario Police's vehicle 1627385. That's the license plate. Alrighty, again, that's what you're actually looking at is the entity monitoring. This is a third-party minion, and this is the state monitoring via the Ontario Police. License 1627385. This is literally a picture of monitoring, and they're molesting with directed light. This is group stalking that's underway, and this is the Ontario Police at the Ontario Town Square. It's 8:54 a.m., and I'm referencing the pictures that I'm taking. That's what I'm looking at. This is what traffic division? Hi. This is Jay Fernandez. All right, chowing down while he's group stalking. All right, he's in relevant position, stalking in the path, engaging in what is criminal monitoring. Let me show you Vote Valencia. Let me show you this. Monitoring.
How are you?
Alrighty, that is license plate MRONT. Valencia is the office that I told you about where an ongoing molestation is underway under the fake sun, and a bunch of demons at Valencia's headquarters on Hope Boulevard under the fake sun, where they're monitoring at Valencia's headquarters. He is a minion, all right? And so you're talking about what is putting another demon in a position of government, and they're monitoring right now with the Ontario Police. Alrighty, so just so you know about that. Anyway, RSONT, that's a Caucasian female, monitoring with the Ontario Police. They're sex offenders. They're monitoring while my panties are down as well. 5NZJ700, 8JVL217. License 90120A1, 1500614. In case I didn't read that one already. And it's 8:55 p.m. All right, license plate 7YBT792, 7AKB855, 4KLKL97, 6YUP239, 5MTY964. Yeah, that's 5MTY964. Monitoring with the Ontario Police. Stalking in the path, literally just engaging what is group stalking, state surveillance as you walk out, lights, activity, relevant positioning. OPD using what are their vehicles surrounding and stalking. All right, this is the same OPD that uses its helicopters stalking. It's 8:57 p.m. License plate 7ARA007 with a minor child in the vehicle. 7TBA, hold on, 7TRB069. And this is license plate 8YWZ076. Stalking in the path with light, monitoring with the Ontario Police. FLRST1. It's 8:58 p.m. Alrighty, that is grounds of federal prisons. That's what I'm documenting, those that are going to federal prison for that. Monitoring with the corrupt police department, these demon-possessed minions who are stalking around the path. It's 8:58 p.m. 7A, alright, I read that one already. Okay. 7 NRK 593, 8 SFJ 349, 8 KHR 959. B Street and Euclid Avenue in relevant position, group stalking with the Ontario Police. It's 8:59 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is upon exit of the Ovid Family Community Library. See, 6WA 7TH 7FMY 352 5AAK 736 1695. I can't really see that one. I think I read that one already. AT89G82 paper. 8WXY 617. Group stalking at Mission and Euclid Avenue. 7ZUC 525. 6TRH 355. 7ZHB 938. 5MAZ281. See, license plates. 6DLJ 7. I can't really see that one. License 6UEZ 863. 6XYT 528. 5ZJ. I can't really see the rest on you. Can scratch that one. Alright, license 8KHR959, showing you, taking still images of the entity that is the same Ontario Police Department outside of my window right now, driving on Euclid Avenue by helicopter. Okay, that is, again, federal prisons. The officers I'm taking images of, they're group stalking at 280 North Lemon Apartments, the Ontario Town Square, the Ovid Family Community Library, monitoring all night, flying directly over me, stalking by helicopter, and flying outside, right above the vehicle that I'm inside of, 7KKH906 federal prison. They're stalking flight activity. And the Ontario police are right outside of my window. I just took a picture of that. We're on Euclid Avenue. It's at 9:03 p.m. This is P.O.C. At Philadelphia and Euclid Avenue. At G&M Gasoline, monitoring. 7PBC 587, 8WQN 064, 79088S1, 5WRD 828, 16915N1. Ontario Police Group stalking. You can see them at the stoplight at the Driftwood Village. Driftwood Village is monitoring. License 7YVB720. And I read that one already. 117RLX039. Excuse me, 7RLX039. And it's 9:04 p.m. Understand what these demons are doing, what the entity is doing. They're monitoring with the people of the state. The state is acting directly via the demon-possessed agency, Ontario Police. And they're just lining the path, stalking at stoplights, being present around the perimeter, any event that the entity is engaging in, for example, which is supposed to be the outward guise under which group stalking remains underway. There is no event where the pattern of conduct is not underway. They are engaging what is the maintenance of presence and path and lining the path. For example, I was crossing path with the vehicle, the helicopter outside of my window. This is the P.O.C. So I just want to point that out. 7TLR913. And then remaining over me while I'm outside in this vehicle or while I'm outside, wherever it is that I'm sleeping. All right, that's what the entity is doing. Literally stalking, obsessive stalking. With knowledge of the fact that they're being documented. Swift Night Transportation Holdings Incorporated. Monitoring with the Ontario Police. It's 9:05 p.m. Amazon Prime, crossing path. See.
You want a burger from McDonald's?
4139. I can't really see that one. 8SJF 460, molesting with light. Sitting in the middle of the parking lot while she enters the driveway right here. 8ZBL 613, stalking with light. Alrighty, what you're looking at in an image at 9:09 p.m. This is a demon that's begging to go to federal prison, blocking the drive-thru, just plain stalking. All right, just doing it right in your face, and they're monitoring documentation. So this is again that threat that the people of the state engage in while they're stalking you and doing so in your face. Also, while you're documenting them, is blocking the drive-thru. This is called group stalking conduct. They were doing the same thing while she drove into the driveway to enter the plaza, and then they were blocking the drive-thru. Again, that's 8ZBC. 413, I believe. That's that BMW. I read their license plate already. 8WPF 676 9G10480, stalking with light. All right, they're filling this plaza where this Del Taco is on Euclid Avenue, south of the 60 freeway, where Euclid T517VL, south of the Economy Inn. That Del Taco, that McDonald's, that plaza, that's where they're stalking in the past, sitting in their vehicles, stalking with light. That vehicle sitting in front of the drive-thru, blocking the drive-thru, just plain stalking in your face. Psychopath just stalking. T517BL, 4EB1402, 7ZLX 600, 7MXS 851. But then again, that's exactly what the Ontario Police Department are engaging in. That's exactly what that is, and there is no event where you're following day and night in helicopters. All right, you're engaging in kidnapping and making up charges in order to continuously engage in kidnapping. They don't have a legitimate syllable in their name. All right, they are obsessed stalkers. They're demon possessed ones, and they're engaging in that same impermissible threat, and that is speaking to what is federal prison. In addition to the fact that they're a police agency engaging in this criminal system. All right, it's terrorism because they're demons engaging in this. This is demonic activity. It's 9:10 p.m. Economy Inn is monitoring. The mobile, 2315 Euclid Avenue, they're monitoring. Five J XT076 8SUH 941. Molesting. 8GXG 537 molesting. 7EAV 681.
I got help from my water agency with a huge rebate. Now I don't have to think about when
8AHF 678.
and I can program it to cut back even more if I need to.
6WGX 470. Alright, stalking with the entity that's flying over the 7-Eleven with the plane. 7FKF 343. All right, that sex offender is molesting. So is 8MNW474. The entity flies right over the parking lot with a commercial airline plane. 8YAJ153, 8EVA063. It's 9:15 p.m. Group stalking inside of the 7-Eleven. Boonty is his name, BUNTY. License 8ZUP670, molesting at the 7-Eleven. 8DEX585. 5DVN368. This is the ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario. They're monitoring with the Ontario Police. Let's see. El Pescador. The Chevron across the street from the Arco. The intersection of Euclid Avenue and G Street where we're at right now, the Blank Fitness Plaza. All right, this is all relevant position. This is monitoring. It is 9:25 p.m. 8DXE180. 6TUT527. BSDNA77. 6YOX838. All right, molestation, monitoring with the people who are driving by the vehicle and the third party in the vehicle, part of that same molestation, and possible light reaching to the back windshield on the upper roof of the car while I'm looking in that direction and reaching up there. All right? That's the same third party blaming me while the entity is stalking by helicopters. That's demonic, and that is a third party that goes by Tracy Banks. That's a demon, okay? That's demonic activity that is entirely demonic. And that is also entirely sick and demented while you're engaging in that conduct with absolute strangers, because I don't know them personally. These are all demons who are engaging in this targeting me together. But this demon who I know goes by the name of Tracy Banks. She's not a mother, as you have seen yourself. She is a demon, and she's monitoring with these demons who are driving by. The vehicle is parked on Fern Avenue, as I've shown you in videos. Okay, it's the same position that it was last night on the side of what is 325 West G Street, 630 North Fern. There is no position where any light is going to aim to the back of the vehicle. And these are demons. Again, this is the pattern. These demons know exactly where I'm at. They know exactly where I am facing my attention physically, visibly, all right? I'm looking toward the back seat because I'm covering up the back windshield. So as I am sitting in the passenger seat, I'm looking toward the back of the car. These demons are aiming directed light toward the back windshield where my hands are reaching up to cover up the windshield. That's entirely demonic. This is the stalking with light conduct. And this demon that is driving this vehicle, again, the same demon that engages in what is harassment, is a very demented psychopath seeking to blame me. But again, I'm not deceived by that. I'm not even affected by it because I'm dealing with Satan. I know what I'm dealing with. I hope that you learn, whoever it is that are realizing that you're subject to the system, those who do not bow down to Satan, who are not puppets of Satan itself, you will find that you are subject to this system. It's entirely demented. You are witnessing it through the environment as you are aware of what demonic activity is, what a demonic environment is, and it is speaking to what you are thinking is the natural environment, and it's not. And in addition to that, you are subject to what is a criminal system that is entirely satanic. And so what you are learning as I am documenting, as I'm exposing what I am subject to, it is even those who you know. It doesn't matter if it's blood relation. As you will learn, a lot of times we're taught, blood is thicker than water, how that saying goes. Actually, spirit is deeper than blood. Okay. So like I said, demon possession and that whole, condition that she is subject to, that is not necessarily passed down the line, meaning I am an exception. Yes, more are subject to that than not. I am the exception though. I am not in any way subservient to that spirit whatsoever, and it literally cannot touch me. And you have what is surrounding me with a demonic environment, and these are the demons that are the Ontario police stalking. I mean, obsessively stalking. I mean, pathetic. I'm taking pictures of them stalking. They're not doing anything else other than stalking. You're gassing up helicopters, stalking me all night and all day. That's exactly what my documentation shows. Proof of it. There's no debate. Okay, so I'm stepping outside and I'm capturing images of more police who are going to federal prison, as I've specifically captured them. They're going to federal prison. The ones that I name, the ones that I document, they're going straight to federal prison. But I'm speaking to what is the prosecution of the entire Ontario Police Department. You're talking about they're going in straitjackets to psychiatric wards. These are psychopaths that are stalking me in helicopters, that are following me around, stalking from stalking from bathroom stall to bathroom stall via the people of the state. Okay, group stalking in bathrooms, sitting around like demented psychopaths, pacing all around me inside of a building in directed light, stalking with audible activity creation, a bunch of demons that know what direction I'm facing in a car, and they know what I'm doing on a communication device while they're stalking inside of the building. Okay, whatever building that is. And this minion, Tracy Banks, is equally pathetic. It's not a mother. All right, and so, like I said, Satan gets no respect from me. It's not going to change because I'm blood related to this one. All right, it doesn't change. And you're not a mother based on what I'm riding in your car. I can walk on the sidewalk. I can go without Satan. In other words, I can go without it. As you have seen me, you witnessed me do. Satan is not going to stop anything. Satan is nothing. Let me tell you what Satan is doing. Satan is warming up for the beat down that it has never fathomed from eternity. Because all I'm doing is what I've been called to do. And I'm going to speak the truth, and I don't care who is in the line of fire, meaning it doesn't change because you're somebody whose name I know. It makes you even more pathetic, because I am not talking about what is my own personal opinion. These are a matter of facts. So you are surrounded by what are facts, and those facts continuously remain facts as I am literally pointing out what is a flashlight, meaning spreading light on what is darkness. I'm showing what's going on. I'm picking up the rock, if you will, and you're looking at all the disgusting little creatures, all the maggots underneath that boulder. All right. And I'm showing you what it is. I'm shedding light on it for you. And guess what? You might even be familiar with those who are engaging in this system, and it's entirely satanic. And let me be clear, while you're subject to it, this is, again, hostility. You are understanding what is the nature. Our nature is actually spirit, more so than what we focus on, the vanities, the superficialities of life, what you're wearing, or your race, or your money, how much you have in the bank. None of that matters. And it's even deeper than what is blood relation. We are separated by what is spirit. In case you did not know that, that's what is defining who are your ancestors and who is your quote unquote family. It is not defined by the things that we do focus on. And I know that sounds way out there, sounds radical, but so does the documentation that is directly establishing what it is that I've been speaking to with regard to the unnatural environment. So as unheard of as it is, as unheard of as police stalking, but guess what? I have the proof. Okay, I have the receipts. That's exactly what they're doing. All right, as unheard of as what would be a fake sun and directed light. Okay, WTF? That's what you say. That's what I would say. What is that? What the heck is that? But the evidence proves it. I have the proof. I have the receipts. Okay, and I want to be clear. This is the reality of what is Satan, what is of the demonic. Things that you cannot even fathom. Things that even if you speak it, no normal person that hasn't ever heard of it. Even myself, understand. While I am a subject to it. Okay, when I first was subject to it, when I'm witnessing it, I'm looking at people show me they're crazy. And they were showing me they're crazy because they thought that they were going to get away with it. Okay, terrorizing someone, and then you think you're going to get away with that. And so I'm showing you how you're going to prosecute Satan. I have seen evil. I've seen it. All right, and I see how evil thinks that it's able to get away, and it's not getting away. It did not get away with it. It's not going to get away with it. It's continuously engaging in it because it has not reached the level of what is the level of completion, if you will, with regard to how far you need to understand as you're witnessing and how far legislation needs to go with regard. All Satan is doing is you're talking about reaching a punchline. This is a matter of what is fate. It's already done. Okay, so you're not talking about what is avoiding anything. You're talking about what is nothing other than a defiant spirit. It could be as defiant as one. It could be as hostile as one. I'm going to throw that defiant, wicked spirit where it belongs, in a cage. All right, and that's speaking to just a matter of justice. That's it. All right, and it does not change with regard to who Satan is using, whether it be my own mother, okay, or some bum on the street. All right, or some third party carrying a Michael Kors bag. All of them serving Satan. All of them psychopaths. And that's what you need to learn. There's not a difference. Get past the superficiality. Get past what it is that you're looking at on the surface, because you're dealing with the spirit. And that's why you have what is directed light at the back of this vehicle while demons are, because that's what they are. They're demons that are driving what would be east and west on G Street, while this car is parked facing north, Fern Avenue. Headlights are not reaching through the windshield cover, through the windshield of the car, or diagonally through the windows of the car and hitting through the back windshield and touching on my body and touching on the back windshield. That's the same demonic behavior pattern. And Tracy Banks is fully engaged in that. And so that's just what I want to spell out. And it's pathetic. And that's why I want you to witness what is Satan. When you have a minion that is not a mother, who is aware of the fact that I am exposing that reality about her, who is continuously engaging in what is monitoring. This is criminal activity. You're not just being a bad mother, Tracy Banks. You're going to federal prison. Okay. So this isn't personal. This is speaking to what is prosecution. So that's what she's doing. She's continuously engaging in that. That's an impermissible threat. I will prosecute her clinically like every other criminal. All right, so it's 9:37 p.m. and that's what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis while the entity is stalking, just like it was as I exited, just like it was upon my arrival to the Other Family Community Library, the Ontario Police Department stalking as I exit. That's how much of an obsessed stalker they are. Following while I'm in her vehicle, Tracy Banks' vehicle, driving from the library south on Euclid Avenue, remaining over stalking by helicopter. Yes, I captured images of those demon-possessed police officers using their lights. That's demonic activity. That's not an event that's underway. That's demonic activity, understand? And they're stalking, okay? And they're stalking obsessively. And they are continuously stalking right now as I continue to capture. It's currently 9:38 p.m. And this is P.O.C. outside of what is the people of the state in relevant position, 325 West G Street, 630 North Fern Avenue. Woodside Senior Apartments, the 7-Eleven at 636 North Vine Avenue, the Blink Fitness, that's a shopping plaza. The Courtyard Villas, this apartment complex. The people of the state, as I've documented some of those addresses just as an idea of where I am in the vicinity and the area, because this entire, you're talking about the entity, all of the people of the state that live in this area, they're all being documented at the same time. And the entity is flashing impossible light across the curb on the passenger side of the car, across the windows on the driver's side of the car, horizontally across the vehicle, the dashboard, the stereo, the seats, my person, through the windows underneath where my feet are, stalking with light. That's what Satan does. And guess what? Where it's happening around you, those who are around you, they're demon possessed. That's Satan. Okay, and Satan is not able to hide anywhere. It's a very precise formula. So I just want to spell that out. That's underway. That's continuously underway. All right, and license plate. Let me get this demon. Oh, I get 6YOX838. Filling the vehicle with directed light. Monitoring with the minion that's trying to speed by. They're group stalking together. And 6YLX838 is engaging in that sexual violence and terrorism while aware of the fact that they're being documented. Group stalking with the state. Molesting my body inside of a vehicle in an impossible way, speaking to what is your demon possession. That's a terrorist. And doing so while you are continuously aware of the fact that you're being documented. That's an impermissible threat. And you are no way deterred. She's doing that while, it's not just a she. This minions that live at 325 West G Street with the license plate 6YLX838, group stalking with the minions who are patrolling all around. They're monitoring together. Okay, and this one is doing it with minor children. Engaging in the P.O.C. with children as well, as I've also documented that as well. Engaging in ongoing molestation, in relevant position, monitoring with the demons who are outside pacing around me and molesting on an ongoing basis. Okay, it is 9:40 p.m. and this is the P.O.C. I just want to make sure I get the rest of these license plates real quick. That's Union Pacific engaging in what is a sexual violation, molestation. All right, they're touching on my breast, touching all over me while I'm in the vehicle. 4NLA797, license BF62W99, coming down the street while the entity is sounding train activity. That's impossible audible activity. That's a demon. Okay, where the entity is aiming direct light inside of the car, understand every single last one of them are the same condition. Where the entity is stalking me by helicopter, every single last one of them are that same condition. They're demons and know exactly what I'm doing. As I step out, that demon comes and drives down the street because they are a sex offender that wants to molest my person with engineered light. It's the same thing with Union Pacific. Even though that's demonic activity and you cannot hear any Union Pacific train south of Holt Boulevard at this location, Union Pacific is persistently engaged in the pattern of conduct, providing its logo, its train on those train tracks to engage in this criminal system with the state. And so Union Pacific shall be prosecuted. That is the identification of a minion, monitoring and engaging in what is sexual violence as well. That's the prosecution of the people of the state using companies that will be prosecuted as sex offenders as well. And they're going to be prosecuted criminally and civilly for that sort of infliction of harm to American citizens. BM60K59. Molesting, group stalking, ongoing terrorism. And again, that's 4NLA797. 21209C2. All right, and that's that heavy duty stalking. The moment I step out of the car, train activity, which you cannot hear. That's how you know, okay? You can't hear no train over here. It's demonic. And that demon immediately turns down the street. Immediately, all they're doing is stalking. All they were doing inside of the open family, all they were doing is stalking. I show you this while an entity is stalking me by helicopter. Understand, all they are doing is stalking. Group stalking is a very real thing, and it's not just occurring in some places. What you need to know about what's really going on in life, it's not about what you're focused on, what you think everybody else is focused on, how you think you're so important. That's what people want you to, that's what Satan wants you to think. While you are literally the focus of everything that they're doing. It's entirely demented while that is the case. All right. 5YVY873. And that's how you have, which is a matter of evidence, what is stalking day and night by helicopter. I'm the center of your universe. While you're keeping a fake sun over my head, I am the center of your universe. I am. That's entirely demented. That's satanic. And that's the reality. Contrary to what you are told or what you're led to believe is the reality about what life's about what everybody's focused on. No, they want you to be focused on that. They want you to be distracted. License 6YOZ533, 7JJM385, 6JTH074, 8W23699, 7JHZ975, 62259P2. And again, this prosecution is not about just the fact that you're doing it. You're also going to be prosecuted because you keep doing it while you're being documented. The stalker that wants to keep stalking you while they know you're documented, you're going under federal prison for that. You're not getting out. Okay? You are not getting out. 6NOK082. And guess what? Documented thousands of people doing that. This is going to establish precedent. And that's what the federal government is going to have to do, because you're talking about what is a satanic. You're talking about what is some end of time sort of conduct. You're going to put your foot down on that. You have to sternly confront that and put Satan in its place. And there is no other way. I'm telling you, there is no other way to handle that. So I'm not only opening your eyes to it, I'm telling you how it shall be addressed. 5GPA254. And this is not just exercising. This is based on the law. This is fully supported by the law, fully authorized under what should be federal law based on criminal activity. Okay, 7PTJ 449, 7BTJ 448, 5HQE019. All right, and it's currently 9:44 p.m. XEZ 709. 1C 53471. Whoa. BF 94P64. That's paper. Okay, that's the Ontario airport. That's what you can document that as. Because there are no planes taking off over here. That's demonic activity, and you're talking about the same conduct with the sound of a train. Okay, while they're stalking in airplanes. It's currently 9:45 p.m. Oh, 630 North Fern, the people of the state molesting with light, using their property lights to touch me with light. This is the pattern of conduct underway. What the entity is doing with light is legally relevant. It's significant with regard to an intent to monitor. And it is also directed light appearing under the guise of what's supposedly a normal light bulb. It's not. They're molesting my body with light, doing so stalking with activity, what you would call what is motion lights. It's stalking with light activity. All right, these are demons. And they're monitoring. Again, how are you also aware of that? The relevant facts that the police are stalking me by helicopter right here, where the entity's placing the fake sun right here over me. That's how you know. And that's how it's going to be prosecuted. Those are the elements of monitoring. Okay. It is 9:46 p.m. This is P.O.C.